Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this heart-shaped bookmark. It's so simple to make and it makes a great gift for Valentine's Day, and it's such a cute way to mark the page of your book. I will pop a supplies list over in the description, but here's what I used. So I've got this lovely vibrant pink felt, and to cut the shapes I've got scissors. I've also got a heat erasable pen, and I've got this heart-shaped decoration which I'm going to use as a template to make sure I get a really nice smooth heart shape. Next up, to add the little flowers, I've got a selection of DMC embroidery threads in some really pretty pastel colours, and I've also got a nice sharp needle. So the first thing we're going to do is draw the heart shape. So for this, I'm going to draw around my heart shape decoration using my heat erasable pen. This is perfect to use because if you've got any pen lines left over once you finish stitching, you can just remove them with heat. So I'm just going to draw around this side first of all, and then I'm just going to draw around the other side. There we go. This is going to help me get a really nice even shape. There we go. So we're going to start stitching in a moment. I'm just going to cut this into a slightly smaller piece, as I prefer to stitch on a smaller piece of felt, just so that you haven't got too much excess fabric. There we go, that's a bit better. So now we're ready to start stitching. So to stitch the flowers, I'm going to use these lovely DMC Eco Vita threads. They're such pretty colours and they have a lovely texture to them, which almost gives them a bit of a woolly effect. So I'm going to add the flowers just into this top section here of the heart. So I'm going to use woven rose stitch for this. So I'm going to start by creating a 5-spoke star using a series of straight stitches. So I'm just going to push my needle back through the felt just like this, and that's going to create our first spoke. Now I'm just going to work my way around and create 5 of these all together. Woven rose stitch is one of my favourite ways to stitch a flower. It's such a simple stitch, yet it's so effective. If you're new to embroidery, or if you're looking for a refresher on woven rose stitch, head on over to my YouTube channel where I've got a full stitch tutorial for you to watch. So we're nearly there with our spokes, we've just got 2 more to go. And then we get to the fun part, which is weaving the thread to create this really pretty rose effect. So I'm just going to add in this last one. There we go. Just going to pull that thread all the way through. And there we go. That is our star ready. So now we're going to start weaving our thread under and over the spokes to create the woven rose effect. So I've come up between these 2 spokes here, and I'm just going to weave my needle over that first spoke and then under the next one. And then again, I'm going to go over the spoke and then slide my needle under the next one. And I'm just going to pull that thread through. And again, I'm going over the next spoke and sliding my needle under the next one. There we go. So you can see that woven wheel effect is starting to form now. And now I'm just going to keep this motion going until I can no longer see the spokes, and it's going to create this really lovely rose effect. So that's our first rose finished. I'm going to add another one, so just using another colour of the embroidery thread, and I'm just going to start off exactly the same, just by creating that 5-spoke star and then weaving the thread under and over to create the rose effect. Here we go, so that's our little woven rose finished. They're looking really cute and have a really lovely texture. So now we're going to add on some little leaves, and for this I've got another DMC thread. This is a lovely green, it's code 966. And I'm just going to cut myself off a length, and I'm going to be using 6 strands for this. So I'm going to add 2 leaves to each flower using backstitch. So just pushing the needle up through the fabric, and then I'm just going to pop the needle back through just close to the flower And I'm going to pull that thread all the way through. And we've got our first leaf. Now I'm just going to add another one just next to it, and I'm going to bring the needle through to meet the base of that first stitch. There we go, and we've got a little pair of leaves on there, and I'm just going to add another set to each flower. So that's the final leaf added, so we've got a little pair on each flower. So now we've finished the embroidery, it is time to build the bookmark. So what I'm going to do next is, using my scissors, I'm going to cut out the shape of the heart. And I'm going to do this very carefully and just try and keep the shape as smooth as possible. So I'm just going to work my way around. I love using felt for these kind of projects because felt doesn't fray, so you always get a really nice clean finish with it. So again, just really carefully just down this middle section, and then I'm going to work my way up the other side. So here is my heart shape. I'm going to give it a little tidy up just using my scissors, just to make sure the shape is really nice and curved. So here is the front of the bookmark. Now I've got a couple of lines. I'm going to remove those with heat in just a moment, but the next thing I'm going to do is cut out the shape for the back of the bookmark. So exactly the same as before, I've drawn around my template onto the felt, and now I'm just going to cut it out using my scissors. And here is the back of the bookmark. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, I've got a couple of lines that I can see from my heat erasable pen, so I'm just going to grab my mini iron and I'm just going to run it over just very gently, and it's just going to remove any of the pen lines, and it's just going to give it a really nice tidy finish. So now I've removed the pen lines, it's time to build the bookmark. So I'm going to pop this little heart just on top. There we go. I'm just going to sandwich them together and make sure they're nicely lined up. We're going to stitch the two hearts together. So I raided my scrap jar to find a lovely pink colour, and I found this really nice rose colour. Now we're going to use 2 strands for this. So I'm going to separate those out now. Just giving that a little bit of a twirl. So I've got my hearts ready. So we've got the front piece and we've got the back piece. And I'm going to start just by pushing my needle just through the front piece of the bookmark. So I'm going to start over here down the side, and I'm just going to pop my needle just through that first piece. Now this is going to hide our knot between the 2 pieces of felt. So pull that through. There we go, and that's nicely tucked away. Now I'm going to work running stitch around one part of the heart. So I'm just going to weave my needle through the 2 pieces, and this is going to hold this really nice and securely. So onto the final running stitch. There we go. So I'm only stitching around this section of the heart because I need to leave a gap between the 2 pieces of felt so it can be slotted onto the book page. And now just to finish off the stitching, I'm going to push my needle just back through the back piece of the bookmark, and we're going to tie it in a knot. But first I'm just going to trim my thread so I haven't got too much excess, so just give that a little trim, and then I'm just going to separate the 2 strands and then secure that in a knot, and this will be hidden between the 2 pieces of felt to give it a lovely finish. There we go, and then just cut off any excess thread that you have. And here is our finished bookmark. It's looking really cute. So let's add it onto our book page. So I'm just going to open it up and I'm just going to slide it on and just mark my chapter. There we go. Look at that. It looks really cute. Will you be giving this one a go? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Happy stitching.